DAW Talk. This is DAW Talk. Yes, welcome to DAW Talk. This is DAW Talk. This is DAW Talk with X.E.L. Welcome back to DAW Talk. I'm your host, X.E.L. And today what I'm going to do, I'm actually going to be talking about Sonar Platinum versus Cakewalk Sonar. So, which one do you actually have? Which one have you guys actually used? I want to show you some of the things that the old Sonar Platinum actually came with, which doesn't really show or reflect the same way when you're looking at the new Cakewalk Sonar that actually has a subscription now, where you used to actually pay for the old Sonar Platinum. So let me just kind of do a comparison and show you guys kind of what you're kind of missing and what was actually going on back then. Let's go. All right, so here's a website. This is for the old comparison site of the old Sonar Platinum. I was really looking for the page that showed like the Cakewalk and the Sonar differences, but I couldn't find it for some reason. I don't know if they took it down or I'm just, lost. But yeah, so here are some of the things that I used to have back in the day that you can actually get from Sonar Platinum. So Sonar Platinum was $500, hands down. $500 is a lot of money, even back then. So just think that people were spending $500 on DAWs back then, and the things that they actually got with it were worth it at the time. So let's go over it. So you have the price was $4.99, and you have monthly updates. So huge difference from what we have now, where they're taking 3 or 4 months just to do little updates inside of Sonar, but we'll get into that a little later in the video. So you have unlimited tracks, unlimited buses, patch points and stuff like that. So you have easy audio to MIDI setup, really easy stuff. So I'm not sure what this mix strip is. I'm not sure what that is, but for some reason Platinum didn't have it, which makes absolutely no sense. But there's that. Then you have your Pro channel, and you used to get Melodyne Essentials for free with Sonar Platinum. So you didn't have to actually pay for any of it. It would just be there, and it actually worked. All right. You had some surround sound mixing. The drum replacer actually came with it. The vocal sync came with it. And I think the vocal sync back then worked a little bit better than it does now on the current Cakewalk by BandLab. Don't ask me why. It just did. It worked better back then. I don't know. All right. And you also had a theme editor, where the new one, you don't have a theme editor. They updated the UI to make it look really pretty, nice and fluent. But at the same time, they took away your option to change things that you really want to change inside of the themes that you get. So I guess it's a catch-22. So if they make something that's really dope that you like, that would be cool. But I think right now the graphics look real playful. It's not like, it doesn't seem as professional. At least this is just my opinion, my honest opinion. It doesn't seem as professional as it did inside of Cakewalk by BandLab. That's just me. Right now it looks more cartoony. It has like that little Ableton kind of feel, which I always thought Ableton was an incomplete DAW graphic wise. People may hang me for that, but it is what it is. That's how I felt. I still feel that way to this day, right? So you get 23 instruments, where in the new one you only get 4. And they got rid of TTS, so that's another thing to kind of talk about, right? So you have 69 total effects. So they had a whole bunch of different effects that you would actually get with this DAW that you don't get with the new Sonar, Cakewalk Sonar. All right, so Pro channel modules, 11, that's still the same, and the style dials are still the same. So here we go with the instruments, right? So there was a sound center that Cakewalk had, where you can actually get sounds, different piano strings, all those things were already in this sound center for Cakewalk, which is super dope. So you didn't really have to go outside to kind of look for sounds and things like that. I thought that was pretty cool. Right. So then you have your Session Drummer 3, which I think it does come with that now. So you do get Session Drummer with the new Cakewalk Sonar, which is cool. The Square one, you don't get Roll Instance. You don't get the TTS one, which is a big one. You no longer get this. This is no longer included with the new Sonar Platinum. So if you are just getting Cakewalk Sonar, I'm sorry. If you're just getting Cakewalk Sonar, you no longer have TTS one. I'm sorry. It was there. I even made a video just making a beat with just the TTS one. It's a tool that you can use in there, and I thought it was cool, right? So Drop Zone is like a sampler that they had inside there, where they don't have, they got rid of this, so there was no more sampler inside of Cakewalk. They have this SFZ player, which a lot of other DAWs could use as well, which was really cool. Just basically like a sampler you can actually use, put instruments in there, and then actually play them out. So if you had like the old like orchestral stuff, there's just the sounds, you could put that in there and actually lay them out across the keyboard and actually play them as instruments. So it was really dope. That is no longer included. So studio instrument, drums, bass, strings, and everybody knows these. These are the ones that actually still come with the Cakewalk Sonar, as well as it came with the Platinum back in the day. All right, so you got Dimension Pro, which was super dope. A really cool instrument to actually use. They also had Rapture, which is another instrument that you could actually get with Cakewalk. And these were like instruments that people really, really used and dug into. And all the people who had Platinum used to have this, and it was dope. It was a really great tool to actually have. So those are no longer available. Cyclone, I believe this was another sampler. I can't remember if it was Drop Zone or this Cyclone. Which one of them was like more like a drum kind of pad. You can actually have like a drum pad to kind of put your samples in and kind of use it that way. No more drum pad for Cakewalk. They don't have one of those inside of the Cakewalk Sonar, right? So this Python 2 was cool. Another like synth that you actually had. RXP was another thing. The Z3T was really, really dope. Like I thought that it gave like a really good, interesting sound selection inside there, and the way you can manipulate the sounds is really dope as well. Definitely Cakewalk, bring it back, man. Z3TA, bring it back. All right, so you also got Lizard Lounge with this, some Strum Session 2, True Pianos, which was a piano. It was like a really, really nice piano that actually came with Cakewalk. Rapture Sessions, that's just like the little instruments and things that came with Rapture. And Ultra Analog Session 2, which was like guitars and a couple other little sound effects that you got. And all these came with Sonar Platinum. It was all included in the bundle when you bought it. So really, really dope, right? And then you have this the Essential Suite. So the Sonitis stuff, which you still get, is here. You also had the classic Creative Suite, which was the Sonar stuff that they have. You still get those. They actually brought that back inside of the BandLab Cakewalk, which was cool. I like the fact that they brought it back and just gave it away. But now you get it with the Sonar, Cakewalk Sonar as well. All right, so here is the some audio mixing suites that they actually had, which was really cool. So you got a chance to use a whole bunch of different other things inside of Sonar. There was like some blue stuff that was in there that was really, really cool. There was a whole bunch of those little kind of blue effects and plugins that you could actually use. They actually had a de-esser, some equalizers, which was really cool as well. You had a gate expander, a limiter, which is always good. You always need a limiter. Some echoes, stereo image, delay tempo. So you have all these different things that they had for the studio mixing suite, which came with Sonar Platinum. And here is where we got like a lot of the really cool things. So you had the boost, you had the channels. So these two, I believe, are still in the regular Cakewalk Sonar. But this L phase, this was really dope. I never got a chance to really use it. I just saw pictures of it, and it reminded me of the Pro EQ, right? So you had one for multi-band and an equalizer, and they had an adaptive limiter, which no longer are available inside of Cakewalk Sonar. So there's that, right? So you also get this other suite where you get the TH3 Cakewalk edition, which was still available. The newer one, the Cakewalk Sonar, actually has the THU, which is the newer version of it, which pretty much has the same things in it, just a couple more racks and different effects that you can actually use in there, which is cool. No problem with that, right? So you still have your reverb, you still have this percussion strip, you have all of these other things are still in there. This vocal strip, and the tone too. So all those are still in there. You still have all the pro channel stuff, which is always cool, right? So the Zoom spectral analyzer was only on Platinum back in the day. It's used in Cakewalk now. Really cool style dials. You still have all that stuff, and it also came with some loop content that you got with it from Big Fish. You had some impulse responses for your RIA matrix, basically like for like reverbs and delays and things like that. And then you had some other RIA matrix solo stuff that was a part of it. So this is what you would get for $500. Like I said, they had monthly updates, so you will always get updates in different things that were actually fixed and set up inside of Sonar Platinum. So let's move over to what you get with the new Sonar. All right, so this was Cakewalk 2024. This is basically when it came out, and they were saying this is what you actually are going to get. This is the new Sonar. Here are some of the highlights that they have for it. So this is 2024 when it actually kind of released and actually was officially released and saying this is what we are going to be doing. And they only did a perpetual license. So there's no, I'm sorry, they only did subscription. There is no perpetual license for Cakewalk Sonar, right? So you have your highlights here, some UI refreshes, DPI awareness, so you can change the size of the screen, some track management enhancement, Spectrum Analyzer over the console and the Pro channel. That's cool. You know, you can double click to expand and collapse docked windows. I guess. Additional snap landmarks and preview bus enhancements. So here are the new features that they actually added. This was definitely needed, this integrated sampler. I've been asking for a sampler for about 4 years now from them to get a sampler that is actually worthy. And currently this one isn't it, right? And they still haven't given you like a drum machine kind of layout that you can actually use inside of Cakewalk, where you actually have it inside of Next, and you also have it inside of BandLab. So I don't know why they're not integrating it inside of the Cakewalk Sonar yet, but that's you know, if you guys want to see a video of me actually telling you all the things that Cakewalk or Sonar can do to make it a lot better, let me know below in the comment section of this video. All right, so you have a sampler, you have a quick start screen they just added in there. The project start end markers, that's cool. So they have a new format to actually save your stuff. So there's a Cakewalk interchange format where you can actually change it with like Cakewalk Next and also with Cakewalk Sonar. So now you have those options to intertwine both of them. I'm also going to probably do a video on Next just so you guys can kind of see what they're doing with Next. And this zip format is supposedly better than the bundle format. It supposedly saves more information. So this is the new zip format that they have for Cakewalk. Personally, I'd probably still use the bundles just so you can actually open it up in another DAW like Reaper, because I use them in Reaper and I open up my Cakewalk files in there. That just helps me out just in case something goes wrong with Cakewalk. All right. The configuration, backup and restore, that's cool. Some automation things they've added, some MIDI things, some live articulations, which is cool. I like live articulations. You can give you an option to kind of make some really cool changes right on the fly, right? Time offset for MIDI, aftertouch. So they have aftertouch, but they don't really have aftertouch. I don't know how that actually works. But hopefully, you know, you guys who actually are using the Cakewalk Sonar can give some input inside of the comment section. Import, export tempo map from MIDI files. That's actually cool. And Cakewalk Product Center, right? So here are the plugins. All of these plugins are something that we have already seen before. So it's like, what are we really gaining here, right? So the THU is the newer one to the TH3, which is an amp simulator. Cool, but yeah. All right, so the Pro Channel Concrete Limiter was another thing that was actually in Sonar Platinum. I believe you had to buy with an extra bundle that came with a couple other things, but this was also something that came with Sonar Platinum, right? So the vocal strip, Sonar Platinum, this AB plugin settings, I think that is something that is new and kind of cool to actually use. So if you're doing your AB testing on certain effects that you put onto your vocals or onto your tracks or songs, I think this will help you out tremendously, right? So the side chaining enhancements, that's cool. The oversampling enhancements, that is something that a lot of people may try, but then they'll start to realize that it weighs down on their computer and is not really necessary. That's just my honest opinion. That's, you take it, leave it to, how it is, but that is my opinion of it, right? So plug-in load balance enhancements, that's always good. So you can actually have it to where your computer's not overworking with all the plugins that you have on there. All right. External insert enhancements. So that's basically for other things outside of Cakewalk. Plugin browser drag and drop enhancement. That was needed very long ago, and it's probably still needed even more now to drop drag and drop enhancements from the browser. You want things to be a lot quicker. That is the whole point of doing a drag and drop, is to make things quicker and accessible, right? So now you can have the option to try to drag and drop things into your effects, and it'll actually put the effects on wherever you dragged it. I think that's really cool. All right. Quick access to plugin settings. They kind of had that already. Friendly names, so you can rename your effects tracks. That's cool. Audio processing load tooltips. So yeah, so that's pretty much all we have. So like the other things are workflow things that they've added on here. I'm not gonna really go through all of them. And there's some optimization for the low latency. I think this is the major key that they have actually done in all of this update to Sonar, is just the option for the low latency and the performance. This is what really matters the most when it comes to updating the system. I think this is the only thing that I would say is definitely worth it, if anything. But then again, it's still not necessarily worth it. I still see on the forum people say it still crashes. People still say they have issues with the processing and things, even though there's many people that say it's a lot faster, it's a lot more reliable. But I still see those posts that come up and say I'm still having issues with certain things with Cakewalk. So there's that. So here's like, more pictures. This is what their interfaces look like now. I'll try to say their themes look like now. So there's no more theme, right? They're showing the sharpness here, how it's supposed to be a lot sharper from the old one from Cakewalk by BandLab. Here is your enable the DPI awareness. So basically giving you an option to kind of control the shape and size of your VSTs that you actually have, which is cool, right? So you have a display option, so you can change your display scale to make it bigger or smaller. I think that's a really good thing to actually have. So you have a track manager menu, so you can actually show just what you want inside of the track manager. I believe they had this before, but it may have just enhanced it or updated it some. All right, and here is the graphics inside of the buses and tracks now. So you get to see in real time, like the analyzer for these EQs, which is cool. I think that's cool, but is it like really completely worth it? Because, I don't know. I still would bring it up and make it bigger just to, because you're not going to move these around, right? So you can double click to expand things now, so you can kind of make them smaller. That's pretty cool. But I still think that's not necessary, because you can just hit like, I for your inspector. You can use, the B for your browser to kind of minimize that. And I believe it's like D for the dock. So like all those things can be kind of minimized easily. So you don't necessarily have to do what is on here. All right. Additional snapshots. So here is the sampler. This is kind of what it looks like. And it has so much limitation to me. Like there should be an option where you can actually split the samples up and put them on some kind of drum machine or sampler, right? There should be an option so you can actually do portamento on here, so you can do like, your rolls and things like that. But this is just a basic sampler. You can put things in here and kind of cut them down, but it's not, to me, an efficient sampler. I still would use complete control over this sampler any day of the week, which is not saying much, right? So here's the new start screen. It looks a little cool. I believe it gives you an option to actually play the songs if you're like on your projects. you can actually hit the play button and it'll play like whatever song, but you have to set it up that way, I believe. Right. This was always cool. I always like this new export that they actually have. It gives you so many options. It is probably the second best, in my opinion, second to Reaper only. Cubase is pretty good as well, but I think Cakewalk's export is a little bit better. That's just my honest opinion. So now you can actually, yeah, here it goes. So you can play the demo of the songs that you actually have for your projects, which is cool. So you don't have to actually open up the whole entire project to know exactly what you were working on. That does save a lot of time and effort and headache as well. All right. So they have the project start and end markers, which I guess was definitely needed because a lot of people were having issues with that. All right. So here is the format change. So these are different formats that they actually had. I guess it saves things a little bit differently now. So you can kind of see how it's saving things. So here's the problem that you're going to run into, right? So you have Cakewalk Next and you have Sonar. So if you're trying to move things from Sonar to Cakewalk Next, you'll be missing certain things. See, Sonar, like the buses, the gains, the pan. So like it's only in Sonar. So like you're still missing out even if you do this new way of saving your format, which to me, I mean, it is kind of defeats the purpose. Like what would be the point? Like I still don't know the point or purpose of Cakewalk Next, but it is there. But let's continue on. All right. So here is the format. So it's basically telling you to export and exchange. So you can actually use those on Cakewalk Sonar and Cakewalk Next. The Cakewalk zip is supposed to be a lot better than the CWP files. This is what they are claiming for that. Configuration backup, so you can back up your configuration for any of your stuff that you have on here. So any keyboard shortcuts, applications. So this is a really cool way to move your stuff around. So if you're moving from one computer to another, you could actually back up your configurations and use it on another computer. That's pretty cool. All right. What else are we having here? All right, so you can create desktop shortcuts command line parameters. I'm not 100% sure what this is or what this actually does. Yeah, we're just going to continue on. Automation smoothing. I thought this was cool. They actually added this a while back where you can kind of smooth out your automations that you have if you're doing them manually. So that does give you a really cool option. And you can change them to linear as well. But I think they had that for a while. I believe you could do that on Cakewalk by BandLab. Offset mode enhancement. So they give you an option to kind of do a little easier offset. Not 100% sure when you would actually use that. So here's a live articulation. I thought this was really cool. So you give you an option to change the pitch on one section and like velocity on the other one. So you can kind of limit where it actually hits and then do like a different pitch for that actual sound. I thought that was really cool that they added that on there. And you can have like some offsets on here. And this is from the MIDI transformation articulations. So you can actually do different articulations for different things and you can have like colors for them. I thought that was really cool. The next thing we need is a way to do some chords, y'all. We need some chords, some chord generators down here as well inside of these MIDI events so that we can actually do different chord sets really easy inside of Cakewalk by BandLab. I think that'll be really cool. All right. And here is the aftertouch. So you have an option to kind of change the values of the aftertouch of the keys. So if you have a certain synth that does aftertouch, this should work. But we'll see. I haven't seen anybody complain or talk about it, so I'm not 100% sure. And here is the production center. So now you can actually pull all those older things inside of your Cakewalk through this production center. It makes it a lot easier to actually do that and kind of have everything in one central location. I don't know if they actually have the Sonar Platinum stuff in here as well, like the Dimension Pro and Rapture and stuff like that. That would be really cool. I think it is something they need to bring back for sure. Even if they need to update the VSTs a little bit, to get that going the way it should be, right? And here's the TXU, which, like I said, was really, really dope. Concrete limiter. You know, it's cool to have it inside the Pro channel. Like I said, I believe it had it in platinum already. Vocal strip was already there. The A/B comparison. I believe the A/B comparison was there as well, but I guess they made it a little more enhanced now, so you can actually kind of adjust things a little bit better now. And side chaining, they make it a lot easier to do the side chaining. That's cool. I'm gonna move down, and here is okay, so you can manage your side chaining. You can assign which tracks, how much the send level is. Is it going to be a pre-fader, you know, after fader? Track auxiliary and buses. I think that's cool. So they have a little box there. I think they should update this box though. It doesn't look too modern. So different side chaining options that you have, and here's side chaining for a different, like a fab filter. That's pretty cool, right? So then you have your oversampling, which a lot of people were excited about. But you know, it's just oversampling. All right. And yeah, so you have your options for oversampling on here. You could do it 2 times, 3 times, 8 times, 16 times, things like that. I think that, you know, I guess it'll help for some people, but I don't really see the big deal about it. But you know, that's just me. That's my personal opinion. Please don't take it to offense or anything like that. All right, so plugin load balance enhancement. So they give you an option to kind of manage plugins and give you some options to tell you where your managers or plugins are being managed at and the level that it is. I think that's pretty cool. The drag and drop stuff. Let's see what else is on here. So this is the external stuff. So like they have more external things that you can actually do, it looks like. So they give you an option for different sends to send it different places for like your hardware. If you have like external keyboards that you're actually using, like synths and things like that. I think that's cool, but they need to actually get in touch with these manufacturers and actually add Cakewalk Sonar as a product that can use their stuff. There's so many products out there where they don't even have Cakewalk listed as a device that can be used with their software or device. So Cakewalk needs to actually reach out to these places and be like, hey, we are here. Give us, you know, this option to work with us, you know. But no, it is what it is. Here's the DPI awareness, and this is the effects rack. The logo on the start bar, the quick screen, default synth add layout. That's been there for a while. Send tracks and buses to groups. That's been there for a while as well. See, like these things, like, so look at this. So you see these little knobs. I don't like that it looks so playful. It doesn't look real. It doesn't, I don't know. I don't know how else to say it. It's just not what it used to be. Right. Of course they have the arranger. The arranger is super dope. There's one of the reasons I still use Cakewalk is the arranger itself. Let's see what else is here. Control surface disabled, remove crossfades, load image, processing, TTS1, which is no longer inside of Cakewalk Sonar. Yeah, so all these things are in here. So let me know what you guys are thinking, man. I mean, I feel like you're not really getting all that you should be getting with this DAW. And like I said, leave it below in the comment section if you want to see a video of me actually talking about the things that Sonar should actually add to make it up to date with all these other new DAWs that are coming out. There'll be more DAW talk of other DAWs that have just come out and released, but this is just the one I really had to get off my chest and kind of let people know, because I've been hearing this for so long from people who had Sonar Platinum. They're like, there's nothing new here. So I am making this video to kind of show you that there's not much new here. And if you do want to actually go that route and do the subscription, cool. Let me know below in the comment section. But once again, it's your boy, X.E.L.O. Peace out from DAW Talk.
AutoRewind.